Hi, my name is Jaya. I am 20 and I am a student.
My name is Richard Reeve. My age is 53. My job is the private secretary for Emma Bourne, the director for EU Exit.
I live in London and I'm originally from the north.
I currently live in Kent, but originally from East London.
I'm a student studying sound design.
I effectively manage the office for Emma Bourne. I'm her private secretary, so what I do is all the work that she just doesn't have the time to do herself.
I don't really categorise myself as anything, really. I don't see the point in putting categories on anything, I guess.
I'm a gay man, yep.
I don't know, I probably like early teenage years, I guess.
I don't think I ever actually had a moment where I realised. For me, it was just I always knew. I can remember as a very young child having feelings towards other boys. So I don't think I had one of those moments where I actually knew. I think it was just with me throughout all of my life.
I was pretty lucky in that I wasn't, but I know a lot of people who were, so I consider myself pretty lucky.
Yeah, at school, I was always the outsider at school. I was always picked on. I don't think necessarily because I wasn't out then when I was at school. I mean, when I was a child in the 70s at school, you didn't come out. It wasn't the thing to be done. And I wasn't confident enough in myself to come out. But I was the outsider, probably because I just didn't fit in with the other boys. I wasn't interested in football or girls or all the things that boys like. So I was excluded and bullied. But I don't think it was necessarily because they thought I was gay, it's just that I didn't fit in. But as I've grown as a person, I don't feel necessarily as threatened. I still feel threatened perhaps sometimes by people's ignorance, and particularly when you see things on the telly recently where people are on buses being beaten up and on the tube being beaten up. That scares me.
I never actually came out, so like it was never like a fully, like it was never a conversation that I actually sat down and had. It was kind of just like dropped it into conversation, and my mum was like, okay.
I was afraid. I come from a very traditional East End family. I didn't fit the mould of what was expected, and it scared me that I wasn't going to fulfil their expectations of me, that I was a failure to them. And also, around the time that I was thinking of coming out was in the 80s. I'd just left school, I was in my 20s, and I felt that I wanted to come out, but then the AIDS epidemic hit, and there was a massive backlash against the gay community then, that it was a gay disease and you know, you can't, you know, only gay people get it, and don't you know, drink from the same cup as a gay person because you're going to get AIDS and all that. So it was this massive backlash, which then set me back, because I didn't feel then that I was able to come out to my family and friends. And with all of that, there was also the government at the time introduced legislation that banned the promotion of homosexuality in school. So the combination of the AIDS epidemic and the government of the day sort of saying, well, no, don't promote homosexuality, you can only promote the typical nuclear family. I was, you know, very scared to come out. I didn't know how I'd be welcomed or thought about. But there comes a time, or certainly came a time in my life, that I just thought I can't live this lie anymore. And as I was getting older, there was more pressure on me. You know, when you're going to get married, you know, we want grandchildren. It was all jokes, but there was a seriousness behind it.
My mum and surprisingly my gran. There's like a lot of stigma with like the older generation that they're kind of stuck in their ways, but my gran was kind of just like, okay.
My dad, and also my sister.
Yeah, I do in London. I wouldn't back where I'm from just because it's so small and quite close-minded, but in London, yeah. I feel as though in London you can kind of do anything and be anyone and like nobody really bats an eyelid, so.
I feel comfortable, more comfortable now. It's far more accepting now than it was back when I was a lot younger.
No. I try to like distance myself as much as possible. Like previously I was quite active in it and a lot of my YouTube videos were focused on it, and it just became quite toxic and almost, I guess, a competition of like who's more gay, who's more queer, like who can out queer the other person kind of thing. So it's kind of a bit cringy and I try not to associate with it anymore.
Yeah, it does. I think it's got a place. When I was a youth, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't online forums and communities that you have these days. So I think what it does now, it replicates or replaces perhaps what I had. When I was coming out, we used to have an East London gay youth group that met once every month. So you'd go there and you'd get information and meet people and share experiences. We used to have gay newspapers. It's called the Pink Paper. It used to come out, I don't know, every fortnight. And that was a way of sharing knowledge and information and feeling part of a community. I guess it's all evolved and now it's online. So what I had in that regard, you're now getting online. I do think it does serve a purpose, but in other ways I don't, because I think you're losing that social interaction of actually meeting people when you're just facing a screen. I mean, I know some younger gay people who are quite happy to be on social media forums, but the thought of going into a gay bar petrifies them because they feel a security, that there's that distance still. So I think it does serve a purpose in getting education information out there, but I think in some regards it has sort of set people back in developing.
I guess it is and it isn't. I guess a lot of the time, like, popular LGBT, like, media icons, like RuPaul's Drag Race and stuff like that, it kind of is, it feeds into stereotypes a lot, but I guess, like, at the same time it can kind of, on the flip side, be a place of education for people outside of the community to learn more about it, but it does kind of perpetuate those stereotypes of like, oh, yeah, queen kind of thing. It's like, that's not every gay person everywhere, contrary to popular belief.
I do think gay people particularly are stereotyped.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people, when I come out to them, they're kind of like, oh, like, I would never have knew. Like, there's kind of a specific way that, like, a queer person or a gay person should look, and it's just like, or I get quite a lot that, like, oh, I've never seen a lesbian with long hair before. It's just things like that. It's kind of like, what?
I personally haven't been, I don't think, to my face anyway. I think people do assume if you're gay that you like certain things and you don't like certain things, or you know, my partner, for example, and people are always shocked when I tell them, because it's their stereotypes. He was actually married to a woman for 35 years. Has got children, grandchildren, and if you met him, you wouldn't assume he was gay at all. It doesn't fit that image of what people expect.
I guess in a lot of ways now social media is like one of those things where it's like nothing's ever good and nothing's ever bad. So like you can kind of have people just bashing you for being queer, being different, but then on the flip side, a lot of people who kind of defend you as well. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, really.
I think that I don't think there's necessarily enough done to protect not just gay people, but a lot of different groups and how they're stereotyped. I think it's only addressed if it's challenged, and I think perhaps it should be the other way around. But yeah, I do think there's a lot more that can be done.